everybody, this is Louisa from Ellie Paper Studio. Today my video is a video share of a solution for when your Silhouette motor starts acting weak. Now I'm gonna put a warning out there. This may not be the problem that your particular Silhouette has. However, it seems that it does happen quite often. In addition, if you choose to do this without calling customer service, please note that I am not responsible for anything that may happen to your Silhouette. So I would recommend that if you do this very cautiously and understanding that there may be consequences. So my Silhouette Cameo, I made the mistake a while ago. I was cutting some invitations. I had a lot of them to cut. I had about 35 of them to cut. And I use basil paper, which is great quality. The downside to that paper is that it's also very, very thick. I'm not sure of the poundage of the particular basil paper that I was using, but it was quite thick. And instead of using the correct basil or the recommended basil settings, I definitely made my motor work much, much harder. And since anytime I would cut even very thin paper, it wouldn't cut all the way through. I increased settings. I got a new blade thinking that my blade had been run down. And then I realized it had nothing to do with my Cameo or my blade. It had everything to do with the motor. The Cameo was cutting. It just was extremely weak. It just seemed like it was giving up. I panicked, of course, because I knew that one, my Silhouette is out of warranty. I've had my Silhouette for about 3 years. This is the older version. I am quite attached to this baby. This is probably one of my biggest sources for my Etsy shop and for my, whenever I'm creating, I always resort some way or another to my Silhouette. I don't own that very many dies, so I use my Silhouette as a die cutting, truly for die cutting, and for many other projects. So that being said, I was very upset. I called customer service. I researched first I researched if there were any obvious solutions out there, and other than your blade is probably dull or your settings are not okay, I didn't find anything, and I was very frustrated. So of course my apprehension started running even more. So what I did is that I called Silhouette. I took an afternoon to call them, Silhouette America. It took about 12 to 15 minutes to get someone on the line. They're very, very busy. So which is why I'm making this video. If I can save someone the hassle of having to call them and save their Cameo, I'm happy to. So here's what they instructed me to do. What had happened with my Cameo was that, and this is exactly where I used to cut. This is in fact my lining. I put a little bit of washi tape so that I know I normally have it turned 90 degrees that way, and I know that I have to put it up to here if I want to cut all the way to 12.5. Otherwise it's going to hit things that I have over here. So here's what you need to do, and I'm almost afraid to do this. I'm not going to do it, but I will kind of demonstrate it with my hands. First, you need to turn your machine off. My computer is going to register that it turned off, and there we go. You need to turn your machine off. You need to make sure your Silhouette Studio software is up to date. Then you're going to grab your housing, your motor, and you're gonna put it all, make sure that it's all the way to the left as it should be when it's turned off. Bring it all the way to the right with your bare hands. And it's not gonna be difficult, but it will take some pressure. You will need to apply it. So bring it all the way to the right. And you'll see that, and you'll feel just what you've always felt with your tension, everything. It doesn't, you don't think anything's going on. Then once it's all the way to the right, you want to bring it all the way back to the left. And this one's going to be, it's going to have a little bit more pressure that you're going to have to apply. So once you do that, and in fact, I'm going to do it just in case. So actually right now, it's doing it very much easier than it was doing it before. And this one's a little harder because you don't have a grasp. And there, bringing all the way to the left. And that's exactly what you do. You turn it back on, and you're gonna cut a little square and see if that square cuts. If the square cuts, and what I used to cut my square was a Recollections cardstock, which I know exactly what my cardstock settings are. I left them the same. I didn't mess with anything. I put my Recollections cardstock, fed it through, put a little square. My square cut beautifully, and actually my machine has been cutting better than ever. It's like it really needed it. Another thing I noticed was that this is my older blade. I went ahead and immediately went back to my older blade because my blade was not dull, which is incredible because I've had this blade pretty much the whole 3 years. And I have cut very many things with this machine in series and otherwise. The other thing you want to make sure is the newer blades come with this little white cap on screws. You want to make sure it's well screwed on, and then you should be ready to cut. And your machine should be all set up. So I hope this is helpful for other Silhouette owners, and I hope that if that was in fact the issue that you were having, that your Silhouette is realigned. What the customer service person said was that it sometimes if you cut at the wrong setting, the tension band gets unaligned or somehow, so you just have to bring it back into position. And that's exactly what happened. Also note that if that is not your issue, as of January 31st, I'm filming this on New Year's Eve, as of January 31st, the rate to have it fixed, it's $100 flat rate, but that does not include shipping here or there. So to that $100, considering how heavy this is, I would add at least $25 to $30 more because it's also very wide and you want to bundle it up really well. So it's going to be quite a big box. So these, I hope, like I said, that this is helpful. I hope this saves your Silhouette and it saves you all that money. Thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you guys later.